Ready? All right, good afternoon, everybody. We have the City Council meeting of the City of Cape May here in the Cape May City Hall Auditorium. Today is Tuesday, September 3rd, 2024. The time is 4:30. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you.
Under the Open Public Meetings Law, notice of this meeting was sent to the Cape May County Herald and the Press of Atlantic City, and a copy of the agenda was delivered to each member of City Council, posted on the city website and the City Hall Bulletin Board. Notice is hereby provided that Cape May City Council meetings are audio recorded and/or video streamed live. Live video streams are posted to the Cape May City website. The City of Cape May is not responsible if audio recording or live video streaming of a meeting is unavailable. Roll call. Deputy Mayor Baldwin is arriving shortly and will join in closed session. Councilmember McDade?
Here.
Councilmember Meyer?
Here.
Mayor Mullock?
Here.
Councilmember Yeager?
Here.
City Solicitor Gillenschwartz?
Here.
City Manager Dietrich?
Here.
Deputy Manager Riggs?
Here.
Deputy Clerk Turner?
Here.
And Deputy Mayor Baldwin just arrived. And we have one resolution on the special meeting agenda, Council. It's Resolution 236-0809-2024, a resolution providing for a meeting not open to the public in accordance with the provisions of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act and JSA 10:4-12. This is to discuss the Cape May MAC, the Cumberland County Improvement Authority Shared Services Agreement.
Do I have a motion? I'll make a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Yeager?
Yes.
Councilmember Meyer?
Yes.
Councilmember McDade?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Baldwin? Yes. Mayor Mullock?
Yes.
And Mayor, we have a public portion.
Anyone here wishing to speak on the closed session? Seeing none, we can close public comment and go into closed session. The time is now 4:32. Good evening, everyone. I apologize. We're coming out of a closed session there, which we need to, I need a motion to close the closed session. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion?
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Do we need a roll call? Thank you. Okay. And we do not plan to take any action based on the conversation from the closed session. With that, we'll open up our work session meeting of the City Council of the City of Cape May, New Jersey. We are here in the Cape May City Hall Auditorium. Today is Tuesday, September 3rd, 2024. The time is now 15 past 5 o'clock. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you.
Under the Open Public Meetings Law, notice that this meeting was sent to the Cape May County Herald and the Press of Atlantic City, and a copy of the agenda was delivered to each member of City Council, posted on the city website and the City Hall Bulletin Board. Notice is hereby provided that City Council meetings are audio recorded and/or video streamed live. Live video streams are posted to the Cape May City website. The City of Cape May is not responsible if audio recording or live video streaming of a meeting is unavailable. Roll call. Deputy Mayor Baldwin?
Here.
Councilmember McDade?
Here.
Councilmember Meyer?
Here.
Mayor Mullick?
Here.
Councilmember Yeager?
Here.
City Solicitor Gillenschwartz?
Here.
City Manager Dietrich?
Here.
Deputy Manager Riggs?
Here.
And Deputy Clerk Turner.
Here.
Council, I do believe we have one addition to the agenda this evening. It's Resolution 25009, 2024, a resolution appointing a member to the Cape May City Zoning Board of Adjustment. There's a motion to add to the regular agenda.
Do I have a motion to add?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Yeager?
Yes.
Councilmember Meyer?
Yes.
Councilmember McDade?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Baldwin?
Yes.
Mayor Mullick?
Yes.
Any other additions or deletions, Council?
Anything, council? No.
Okay.
Employee of the month. Okay. City Manager Dietrich, if you would take the stage.
Thank you. This is always the fun meeting of the month where I get to come up and really just highlight one of our great employees that we have working here at the City of Cape May, and we have no exception to the rule here. We have Patrolman Eric Brzezinski here. Alex Brzezinski. I got Eric coming up for a thing. So Alex here this evening. So just a great officer within our patrol, and I just wanted to let Chief Fashaw come up and just kind of give you a synopsis of the great work that he's doing for us.
Thank you, Manager. Appreciate that. Again, I'll echo the statement of the manager as well. The Employee of the Month is an important role. Started back a few years ago with Manager Voll, continued by Manager Dietrich. I think it's a great program that acknowledges and exemplifies the employees as we come through. No short of words for Patrolman Alex Brzezinski, who's been with us since Cape May PD since 2017. He began his career as a summer officer, SLEO officer, advancing to full-time status in 2020. Since that time, Patrolman Brzezinski has excelled while in the patrol division. Patrolman Brzezinski has a very good street presence and level-headed approach to handling difficult situations that arise while on patrol. Patrolman Brzezinski is one of our department's recruitment officers, department resiliency officer, defense tactics instructor, PT instructor, baton instructor, police bike instructor, and has most recently been accepted and that is now an active operator on the Cape May County Regional SWAT team. Something he's very proud to be a part of, which I'm also very proud of him to be a part of. As the Cape May Police Chief, I'm very proud to serve alongside of Patrolman Brzezinski, as well as all of the other members in the Cape May Police Department, specifically as he navigates this tricky career and life goal of being a police officer. Patrolman Brzezinski loves being a police officer, interacting with the community, especially our youth. You may find Alex running radar on one of our busy streets, walking on the Washington Street Mall, perusing Cape May Point, and or simply playing around the kickball with our kids in one of our parks and playgrounds, which is very important. And I think our community policing standpoint that I preach, he picked up on and continued through. So it was built in him, and he's continued that. So I'm very proud of him, and congratulations.
Yeah. Why don't you hop on the other?
You
why
get
don't
in the
hop on
middle?
the other side? You get to be on the middle.
Come on, come on.
Make her get in there.
Related?
I think it's small different too. I think.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh, one more. She wants one more with you guys.
Oh, oh.
Sorry, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alex, I just want to say thank you and echo all the sentiments of the chief and city manager. I've seen you in action, whether it be working with kids or in an important situation where you have nerves of steel. And I think we all see the hard work that you've given to our community, and we're all proud of you. So thank you for your service. Thank you. Thank you. And actually, city manager, I know we'll probably all say it at the end of the night, but just having Labor Day yesterday, I think we want to acknowledge all of our employees in the city of Cape May. So many of you, even some yesterday working, but I think throughout this entire summer season, I saw a lot of hard work and dedication to making sure Cape May is clean and safe, and I appreciate it. Our employees here in City Hall as well, so thank you very much. With that, we can move on to updates, old business, city manager.
Thank you. First, I just wanted to talk a little bit about, hadn't really given you an update on the EV charging stations. They have been pretty successful over the summer. So we have been, as a summary, in the month of July, we earned just close to around $7,000 in revenue, and in the month of August, a little over $8,000 in revenue from the EV charging stations, both here, that's combined, both here at City Hall and at the Welcome Center. And we're only paying about just under $1,000 a month in electric costs. So, you know, we're definitely covering our costs and, you know, recouping some of our install costs that we incurred in them. But, you know, you always see them being used. I don't think there's a day that you go by that you look and you don't see a vehicle being hooked up and charging. So I think that's been a good benefit to our residents and visitors of the city. I also wanted to update on the lightning strike information. Looks like that we're just over, or maybe just around just under $300,000 in claims that we've submitted for the JIF, and we've spent around $50,000 for additional lightning protection. They just actually completed work today on fully grounding this building. About 2 weeks ago, we completed regrounding and putting in new grounds on the communications tower next to the building. So, we feel, as confident as we can that we've secured this building appropriately to protect for future electrical storms. So, can't say that it's not going to happen, but I think if it does, we're going to be much better protected than we were beforehand.
I saw them putting big copper grounding wires outside.
Outside, and you'll see there's 4 new ground wires that are coming down from the roof. So there's 4 that come down on different sides of the building. They're all interconnected, and then connected both to the tower and then sent into the ground to be properly grounded, as well as all the utility are now connected and grounded properly. So I think we've got it covered pretty well at this point. Beach tag season is now, Labor Day, is upon us. So I guess the official end of the summer from a beach tag sales. From a revenue standpoint, we were just under $474,000 in increase in revenue. The number of tags, some of them were up. Total number of tags were up about 1,700 tags. But when you look at seasonals, we were down about 269 seasonal tags, but we were up 482 commercial tags. So most likely, I'm thinking a lot of those seasonal tags, we got them to go buy a commercial tag. but we're down both in 3-day tags and weekly tags. So I think you would kind of maybe see that with an increase in commercial tags. That's where you're going to possibly see those weekly tags. They're now being used instead of them coming and buying a weekly or a 3-day tag. So, but all ground total, just up over $474,000.
That's great.
Quick question.
And that's not final numbers, but that's as of what we could tally for this year.
Do we have any update on the digital tags?
So those numbers includes the digital tag?
That-
If you want some numbers from digital tag,
Just curious. First year.
we did daily tags. There were about 10,000 daily tags purchased through the digital, and of that 10,000, 8,000 of them they used the actual virtual tag, where they did not actually get a physical tag. All the other, where they paid for seasonal, weekly, and 3-day or daily pickups, we did sell quite a few of those. There's over 2,300 weekly pickups, almost 1,500 3-day pickups, and 2,200 daily pickups, where they essentially paid online and picked up a physical tag.
So at the end of the season, when we have the wrap-up, if we could have the percentages associated with the digital versus
Yeah,
the
I'll-
physical versus those that were done virtually, it would be really, and the associated revenue, obviously, would be very helpful.
Yes.
Thank you.
But I just got a quick look at those numbers ahead of time, just to kind of have that information for this evening.
Mr. Dietrich, if I could just jump in, I want to thank the beach taggers for their patience in going through the digital beach tag process. It was a huge undertaking, but, they really, they came to it with some hard work and really trying to understand it and work with our vendor and really just tried to get the general understanding of the project. So I just want to tell them thank you for doing that.
Because not only did they have to educate themselves, they had to educate the public at the same time. So they were under fire for the first 2-3 weeks. It was a testament to their fortitude in working. So yes. And then I was going to say this later, but I'll just mention it now. Talk to Chief Harry Back about lifeguards, and as I mentioned this last meeting, please swim at a guarded beach. We will endeavor to update the guarded beach list daily if it's changing. So please check our social medias on which beaches are guarded. We will be extending, obviously on the weekends, we're going to have more guarded beaches than during the week, but we'll endeavor for the next at least 2 weeks, maybe 3, to have at least, to have guards out on the beach for protection of our residents and visitors, to keep the bathers safe. But in order for them to keep you safe, you need to swim where there's a guarded beach. That's all I had today, Mayor.
Thank you, City Manager. City Solicitor?
Just briefly for council, the Open Public Records Act changes to the law took effect today. There'll be some changes, slight changes to the city's forms, and I'll be working with the clerk's office to assure a smooth implementation of that. I know there'll be some relief to the clerk's office in processing those applications, but like I said, I'll be working with the clerk's office to implement that.
Thank you. City Council, any updates? Old business? Okay. Up to department update on commercial recycling from our Department of Public Works. Eric, thank you for being here. Frank, thank you. And I know I'm repeating myself, but please share with all the DPW that our biggest thanks for a great season. Still a lot of season left, but we appreciate.
A lot of season left.
Yep.
We
Eric
did
and
four-
Frank, just move the mics closer a little
Yeah.
bit. You can move them around, talk into them, please, okay?
Here's your copy.
Thank you.
So I don't know if you guys got a copy digital, but I did bring some paper ones.
Thank you.
So Frank and I was, and my department was tasked with, looking at some of the recycling stuff that's going through town. And during the lookout and the evaluation, we noticed there's extreme amount of recycling being put out curbside throughout the town. So in the spreadsheet is basically all of our commercial properties throughout town. Where there's no information in the spreadsheet box, they're within 2-3 cans of residents and commercial spots. The numbers that are in the spot are above those limits of cans being put out curbside. So myself, Frank, sat and talked about it, and we kind of looked at some other ordinance around other shore towns. And there's a lot of shore towns that put a can limit to recycling as far as curbside. So, we both sat together and kind of pinpointed, and we're looking for council support in this to, go to like a residential owners to a 296-gallon can or up to 192 gallons total, which leads out to like 4 48-gallon cans, 6 32-gallon cans of that sort. And then as far as commercial properties go, going to a 4 96-gallon toter to 384 total gallons.
Does everyone understand what that 384 is 496?
96 gallons, yes.
496
6-gallon cans, yep, toters.
So
We-
Eric, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, so I note on here a number of have cans, plus there were stacks of boxes. How do you
So
presume?
with the cardboard and all, it's hard to put a limit on the cardboard.
Yeah.
Because, again, we're going to make them jam cardboard in the 4-gallon,
Yeah,
96-gallon
sure.
cans.
Okay.
We do have a city ordinance that it needs to be broken down, tied up.
Okay,
So that's something Frank and myself have to work with code enforcement kind of thing to
Okay.
make sure it's being enforced.
but if it's presented that way on the side, you're okay with that?
We're okay with that, yeah.
Regardless of the volume and the amount?
Yes.
Okay,
Well,
just
no,
want to,
I think that the volume would still have to be an equivalent volume.
well, that's why I'm asking, because, we certainly, I've witnessed where, you could see a half a street block.
Yes,
Full of, and I know that this is an area that in your particular department has one of the highest, claims associated with workers' comp, and a lot of it is associated with the kind of work that's being done. So I'm just, want to talk through what the boundaries are to make sure that,
You could, just like like a 96-gallon toter has a size, we could put a size, that cubic volume as well as the gallons and convert that, just to a total cubic.
Do we have any comparative language from other municipalities along
have.
those lines?
Most of them all use the number of cans
Okay,
as
all
a,
right.
as a reference.
Just want to put it out
But
there.
that can be easily converted into
Okay,
cubic
yeah,
feet.
just something we should consider as we're looking at this.
Yes.
Superintendent, can I ask you a question? Kind of start from the beginning. As far as I know about recycling is, I need to put it out tonight to pick up tomorrow because I live in the Village Green area. How many sections of town are there? How often do you go through the business districts? Do they get picked up multiple times a week? Can you just kind of give us a?
So we have,
an
we
idea
have,
what
we
you
have
guys
5
do?
zones. We have 5 routes. Monday's route consists of the Cove to Ocean Street, Beach Ave to Venice, basically. That's Monday's route. Tuesday route goes from Ocean to Madison, Beach to Lafayette, or Broad Street, where the Housing Authority is. Wednesday is from Cape May Avenue to Lafayette Street, Madison to Yacht Club. And then Thursdays is Beach to Cape May Ave, Madison to Pittsburgh, and then Friday is everything up top.
So regardless of whether it's residential or commercial, it's part of that route?
It's part of that route, yes.
Okay,
And
thank you.
Can I further ask a question?
Sure.
Because I'm looking at some of the properties in here, and I know that we have a lot of large condos. I mean, there might be 5 condos in one, in one building. Is that going to be, are you asking for limitations for that?
Yes.
Would that be the commercial, or would that be
That
under
would be-
residential?
I would consider commercial or anything with a mercantile license, I mean, in my eyes.
Okay, So like a 5-unit, so it wouldn't be considered residential, you would consider it commercial? Okay.
Commercial, yes.
Okay.
But I think actually mercantile license might not be the way, just with,
I'm not-
you have individual homes that are rented, you probably don't want to necessarily consider them commercial.
No, I mean, in theory, like, I know there's a lot of Airbnbs,
Right.
regular, I mean, to me, it's a single-family home.
That's residential.
It's residential,
Okay.
Maybe it's the number of units in a building.
In a building.
Maybe it's 4 or greater or something, where we would think.
I think
yeah.
we're a little more unique, I think, than
Yeah.
other probably.
Again, these are any recommendations and
Yeah.
suggestions that, we talked about, and, I'm sure there's a little give or take here and there with some of it, because every address, whether it's single-family, multiple units,
Can I ask a question on, when this says toter, what is it, which ones, is that the 96?
toters are 96 gallons.
So-
96 gallon, 48,
I'm not going
48.
to say the business, but I think, when you read this, which obviously we are, you have one business on here with 36 toters on one day.
Yes.
So that's actually the regular, sorry, that's actually.
Not- we're
regular-
not saying names.
That's the 30.
It's a
there's
32 gallon.
32 gallon cans, the small cans.
32 gallon. Okay.
Anything that we grab with the back of the trash truck or recycle truck is considered a toter.
That's what, so it doesn't necessarily mean a
Correct.
gallonage.
Correct. It's just,
But we are getting complaints about that location.
I mean, it's just, when you're getting to 36
I mean,
cans, whatever they may be, that is when that business should have recycling pickup.
And that's why we, superintendent looked at the numbers, looked at what other towns were doing, and you had to find a line of, okay, when does this become the city's responsibility, similar to what you would be picking up for a residence, and when does it become the commercial business obligation to, because they collect so much that it's really not incumbent upon the city to pick it up. So that's really,
I've picked up recycling in that particular location because the wind just blew it over. So I got my buddies to help me pick it up. I mean, I'm just saying, it's a cost to the city, in one regard or another.
When
it
you're,
comes
pi-
to that.
when you're picking up like 36, I mean, how full does that, I mean, is that,
you're probably at the stop for a minimum 20 minutes, packing it.
each can's going to weigh different amounts, depends how much.
how many of these, I mean, when you're doing a run,
So, excuse me, for today alone, I was actually on the truck today, we were shorthanded. I went out for about an hour with the guys again today. And today, I did one route myself today, I did over 9 tons on just Monday's route.
and how much does the truck hold?
It holds over 10 tons, right at 10
Okay.
tons. So I was
Okay,
pretty much at max.
so you're not going up, and you have to take all
I
of this
wasn't-
up to Woodbine, right?
Transfer station.
Burley.
In Burley, okay, okay.
But I wasn't even done the route yet today. That was about halfway done the route, on Monday's
So-
route.
So we had to stop the route today to dump 8.41 tons.
You had to go, you drive up to
You had to
Burley,
drive up, dump,
and then
dump, come back.
and come back.
Me-
So
myself-
each route that you're doing for each day, then you're probably up
it
there.
varies, right.
Midday.
Obviously, Monday and Tuesdays are the most, because it's the most commercial spots.
There are busiest spots, our most bulk
Okay.
trash, recycle, sorry.
Okay, I'm just trying to get an
So
idea.
today we picked up about almost 15 ton just today.
Wow.
And that's not with the second trucks, the 2 trucks we have in the yard now, still have stuff on it from this afternoon that we should then dump later this
So
afternoon.
we got to add that to the.
What's it cost us
I was
per
going to say,
ton
what's
about?
it going to cost us per ton?
Costs.
Yeah.
For what? For
What's it
dumping?
cost the city per
There's
ton?
There's no cost to dump.
No cost,
No,
okay.
it's single
all
stream.
right.
For the, because of the
used to get-
recycling.
If it's,
to get
if
money.
it's contaminated,
Okay.
then we get hit with a contamination load,
Right.
but they're not.
Okay.
That's why we strictly
Right.
ask for no plastic in the bags.
Okay, so it's
No bags,
man
No
hours.
plastic.
Man hours.
Yes, this is
Man,
man
fuel.
hours. and
Man,
fuel,
fuel,
wear and tear.
and, yeah,
Maintenance.
potential harm, right.
So, the address you guys are speaking of right now, besides, if we're going commercial, 384 gallons total, they were above by 612 gallons above that 300 and which also, that one stop alone is putting out almost 1,000 gallons of recycling. That's not counting cardboard. That's just cans.
and most of the businesses on here, they're pretty, most of them are pretty obvious. They're either over or they're within a compliance.
Now, I know I've seen personally at times, properties are doing projects, and there's large quantities of boxes out on the street, for maybe weeks on end as they're, doing things. Do they make do they contact you to say we are requesting a special pickup or any kind? Okay, so we don't have should we consider a process that says if you're doing something along those lines that you need to notify, the supervisor?
Once in a while, we do get notifications. Residents may call, hey, I'm moving in this house here. What day is my recycling? Okay, I want to make sure that recycle's out that day. A few businesses have done that in the past where they're getting ready for the season, and they give us, hey, we're going to have a lot out for you on our recycle day. It gives a heads up, but that's about it.
But not much.
Particularly talking about, construction-related or activities where people are replenishing a full house, so there's a lot of boxes out there, that kind of a thing.
No,
So,
for instance, hotels opening up for the season.
yeah.
They don't, we just pull up to the stop and it's from one block to the next block,
Yeah.
covering parking spots as well,
Yeah.
because they put it out.
I mean, only because that's also, on the street, and if we've got any kind of, weather event, it's an eyesore, but it's
Yes.
also a weather event, these things can move around. So just something we may want to consider having a discussion about notification if you're putting out that kind of, process, I don't know.
Or loading it in your truck and bringing it to the transfer station, which I've done
Which- to the
many
transfer
times in the
station,
past.
Or bring it up to our central recycle station.
Right.
In Wichita. So, jumping onto that, I have spoken with Frank, who's, one of my assistant supervisor of public works, Deputy Riggs and Manager Dietrich. We like to offer their central recycle station to open on Wednesdays, year-round, at the DPW facility. Right now, they're closed. As of November 1st, it closes on Wednesdays.
Right.
I don't see any issue with it. It's the same people that work it during the summer would work it during the wintertime.
Well, and that gives people an option who
Who-
may be
who
very
are-
close to this.
Correct.
You
Gives
know,
them the option to bring it up to the yard and put it in the dumpster.
it's a nice option.
Or if we have a storm coming and so forth, they can be proactive as well and come up, help out as well.
Well, and there are a lot of times homeowners are down here cleaning up after the season or cleaning up the leaves and everything else. And so they get down here and then they wind up trying to go over on a day it's closed.
Correct.
Then the stuff's sitting, somewhere. So, yeah, I mean, I'm a proponent for it.
So, with the backing, with Manager Dietrich and Deputy Manager Riggs, we think this is a good option for the residents and business owners to, have an extra day where, oh, maybe I might not make it till next week. There's an extra day in the week that they can bring it up to the recycle station and dump it there.
Okay, so council, we have basically a proposal from Public Works. And it essentially is two 96-gallon cans for residents, which I have to say personally, I think sounds pretty fair. That if you fill up one 96 with just recycling, that's a lot of recycling. And commercial properties with four 96-gallon. This is not saying you need a 96-gallon container. It's giving you 384 gallons. So I guess you could use 48 gallons or 32-gallon containers, just as long as the total does not go over 384.
Correct.
Okay. So I think we should still talk about this, but I guess the idea is we're asking the solicitor to write an ordinance amendment.
Can we also maybe put in some of the other things that we've
Yeah.
discussed? The boxes, the size, dimensions, what we would think would be, based on these, Frank and Eric's recommendation and Paul's, how many boxes, the size of that would be accommodated for condo buildings?
And that would be aggregate, not, you don't get like 4 96-gallon toters.
No,
and-
understood. And I think.
I just want
yeah,
to make sure that
yeah.
that's,
In condo buildings, is it 4+ units? Do we consider that to be?
We consider that,
Yeah.
increase.
An increase, yeah.
Right.
They're more on the commercial side than the residential side. I can't think of anything else right now, but.
I'm going to go through, I'll go through the list a little bit
Yeah.
better. I couldn't read it on the,
No, that's fine.
It
And
kept flipping
again,
around.
yeah.
Again, Frank and I are available to meet, if we want to sit down and brainstorm together or something, it's a little more feasible for, residents and business owners and, you know, to make sure we accommodate as best we can.
You might have to weigh in on I think you can see a problem with the residential and the number of condos. I mean, you know,
Correct.
Councilwoman didn't recommend, just said 4, which
Yeah.
is probably a good number, but
yes.
that could be a problem. I mean,
Correct.
Could be, there's no way they're putting that
Correct.
in.
And we're not here to create a problem,
So
but,
you
know,
guys know, you would know what to recommend.
I can say, no, 8 could be the cutoff, whatever it might be. I mean,
Yes.
that could, you know, whatever you.
So what, do I have a volunteer from council to work with Eric, Frank, and our solicitor to come up with an ordinance? It would be an amendment or a new ordinance, Mr. Solicitor?
It'd probably be an amendment to our solid waste code, just to build in some of these requirements.
Do I have a volunteer for that?
I'm happy to work with them.
Maureen, so the three of you could work together with the solicitor?
Yeah, I'll hang out.
Shane, do you want to help?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so Councilmember Meyer and McDade will work with the two of you, and the
great.
solicitor come up with an ordinance and
Sounds great.
bring that back to the table for discussion.
Anything that you think of between now and then, just send to Mr. Gillen Schwartz, so that we can, you know, if something comes up in the next couple, you know, week or so, to make sure it gets incorporated.
Sounds good.
Thank
Great
you.
ideas.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time, guys. Thank you.
You're a very good trash talker, I know. I've played golf before. Thank you. All right, thanks, Eric. Thank you, Frank. Okay, with that, we're on to ordinances for introduction.
Yes, tonight we have 3 ordinances. First one being 543-2024, ordinance amending Chapter 310 of the Code of the City of Cape May regarding licensing fees.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
And this is ordinance for introduction.
Yes.
This really was, I believe, involving the Amtrak.
Yes.
Amtrak, and going through with our city manager, all of the different licensing fees. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
I mean, just to kind of reiterate, you know, we did look at Amtrak's recommendations. We did consolidate around and removed around 8 to 9 different codes and consolidated them in. We ended up adding maybe an additional 2 to 3 different new activities that we wanted to make sure the track and make sure that we were receiving mercantile licenses for. And then did the analysis based on a 5-year cumulative CPI to look at where the increases should be, and then we kind of averaged them out and adjusted them based on an appropriate dollar amount. That's how the summary came up.
And the city clerk was also very helpful in just understanding the process and then sort of, you know, really weighing in on, you know, the time, energy, and effort that some of these do, and also recognizing that this is an operational task within her unit. And so trying to round these to the nearest dollars, from a keying perspective, it sounds minor, but it's critically important when you're doing the volume that they're doing in that office. So all of those things were factored in. So, you know, it was a lot of work by everyone else, and I was happy to participate, but I think we came out with a good product at the end.
Can I make a comment, Mayor?
Please.
Can I ask the solicitor to kind of explain to the public, you know, the rules relating to raising fees when it comes to these kind of processes, to statewide? You know, we're not trying to fill the call first, we're just trying to maintain the amount of work that's.
Oh, sure. I mean, the licensing fees are so that the city doesn't lose money in processing and you know, they have to be updated from time to time in our code, and many other towns update these on an annual basis. So I think we've gotten in a better habit of that lately, and looking at them on an annual basis with the help of Amtrak. So, and if you look at these fees in relation to other towns for similar services, I think they're kind of right on the money. And that is one of the considerations that people reviewing these types of ordinances will look at.
Thank you.
And Council, just so that the public is aware, these fees have not been updated in 20 years. So,
How long?
20 years at least. So, long overdue.
And I think the fees are nothing that are out of the ordinary. As the solicitor said, that they basically just bring us up to par with the other neighboring municipalities.
So, City Clerk, if you could just explain what the process would be when rolling this out. This would be really for the 2025 season notification?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay. Just want to
That's
reinforce that point.
anticipated. It's going to take us time, if this does get adopted, to work with our software to make all of those updates on our, internal processes before rolling this out
Right.
for the upcoming season.
Okay, thank you.
So we have a motion and a second. Are we ready for
Any other
roll call?
questions, council? Roll call?
Just
Go-
just-
pardon me,
just a
sorry.
quick
Pardon
general
me.
statement, because we have a couple of these that are on here, and like you said, they haven't been updated in like 20 years.
Yeah.
We really need to,
Well, it is one of the things.
and I know
yeah.
MTRAC has really been
Yeah.
doing a fabulous job on a lot of these things, but
We had a
I hate to do
conversation.
such a huge increase over, some of this is like 50% and more increases. So I just,
I think the development fees, you're
The deve-
correct,
Yeah.
but
Or-
the-
yeah.
these
The
ones are
development
not.
fees.
The
The
mercantile.
mercantiles are mostly
Yeah,
about a
they're pretty-
$50 to a $75 increase.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
really tried to
It was
keep
all within
it,
a
rein it in.
CPI of 5 years for
Yeah.
those. But it is something that MTRAC has discussed, and it is a discussion that I had with the city manager, the deputy manager, and the city clerk, along with the CFO, that we need to be a little bit more rigorous about not necessarily increasing, but reviewing. So that there needs to be more of, a business model that says every 2 years, just take a look at them. The city clerk, there are times where, it may not require any more additional work effort. So it may not warrant an increase at that point in time. And those considerations need to be part of the discussion and the conversation, and that's why it's important that those people be around the table. So it is not necessarily meaning we're going to be increasing at that pace. It means that we will be reviewing and having a more disciplined business approach to it.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Roll call?
Councilmember Yeager?
Yes.
Councilmember Meyer?
Yes.
Councilmember McDade?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Baldwin?
yes?
Mayor Mullick?
Yes.
Next, we have 544-2024, an ordinance amending Chapter 211 of the Code of the City of Cape May regarding development fees.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Similar to the previous ordinance, this is an update to the development fees. City manager, do you want to give us a quick,
Yeah, again, this is an ordinance that has not been updated.
or not quick, whichever.
This has not been updated since 2020, so we're looking at 2020 fees. We had the board administrator do a countywide survey, and so, you have the survey of all of the county fees as well as establishing what like a county average. And I think we are proposing fees that are in line with the county average. And what probably is going up a little bit more significantly is what the escrow fees are. And the escrow fees are fees that are used to pay the board's professionals. So the board engineer and the board solicitor that review the applications and send the city a bill, and then the city has to pay that bill. And they use the escrow fees. Every time an applicant, and about 30% of the applications that are submitted needs additional fees. And what that means is our board administrator has to go track down these applicants and tries to recoup the fees. And then sometimes if the applicant has not gotten an approval, they're not wanting to pay. And that means then the city is then on the hook, so to speak, to pay the professionals out of the city coffers. But also it delays in payment of the professionals so that it just, instead of paying timely bills in a 30-day process, sometimes there's 60, 90, or 90-plus days in arrears of paying some of our professionals. So what was also occurring was the ordinance set up provisions that if you submit a set of plans and the board professionals review it and then it has to be revised, there's an additional fee for that. Well, we don't collect that fee up front. That has to be collected additional. So that's, so if a plan needs 2 revisions and then a revision at the end of the plan, you end up trying to collect an extra $300 or $500 that you're always having to chase down the applicants to get the money. And the board administrator spends a lot of their time chasing down money to pay the board's professionals, and it just becomes cumbersome. So if we collect the money of the escrow money up ahead, we have enough money to pay the professionals, to have a streamlined process, and then at the end of the project, if we have to refund $100, if we have to refund $500,
The remainder.
the remainder that we don't use, that we keep in a separate, accounting, then that money is returned to the applicant in a timely fashion upon request. So it makes it much more easier for an administrative process and to pay the board of professionals in a more timely process.
Yes, and I spoke, I gotten some data to take a look at too, and then spoke with the board secretary for both the planning and zoning, and she just said that there's a lot of time and energy spent trying to recoup these dollars, and oftentimes, where the liability sits on the city books, awaiting for payment to go to the board engineer and the board solicitors, which is unfair to them, waiting for their payment. So it just seems that making more of an adjustment and working this as a refund process. And she said that those are very few situations in which it does occur, but it's very minor.
But just so I'm clear, which all of that makes sense, some of this is application fees, and some of it is obviously escrow fees, right?
The application fees cover the application, for the board administrators'
Right.
fees and administrating. And then, that fee seems like it's going up, but if you look at one section that we removed, there's a section, there's an administrative fee that was collected separate that was added to the application fee that was a percentage of the application fee that was to cover office expenses, heat, electric, office supplies, and it just was an additional math step that had to be done, whereas most towns don't do that extra step. Their application fee covers all of that administrative costs, and if we keep up with updating our application fees on a routine basis, then we don't have to really worry about, escalating, utility costs that would be to the board's office to account for that. So that's one reason why the application fee kind of jumped, because it's kind of putting another part that was a fee collected but not really shown as a fee in the chart.
Deputy Mayor?
Yes. Some of these fees are going up pretty drastically, and I think that was my sticker shock. And I understand the whole process, getting those escrow fees, things like that. But we're looking like $100 to $550 for an informal review. I would like to request, and I don't want to hold this up because I understand that, the planning and zoning, they need to be able to not have to go back to the applicant to get additional escrow or anything like that. So I really don't want to hold this up, but I would love to have MTRAC take a look at this. I know I spoke to MTRAC in the past, if they can take a look at this and kind of, see if there wasn't a real deep dive into this, and I think that you guys would do a great job with it.
Well, we have the data that, and I'm happy to share that with Mr. Crowley, the data that the city manager obtained from all the other municipalities. Then we have the data that we've already looked at from the board secretary. So we pretty much have the two pieces of information. I can share that with Mr. Crowley and go back through the same exercise.
Yeah, kudos to Karen Keenan for getting all of this data. Clearly, the public can't see what we're looking at, but I'm looking at the fee schedule of every fee from Cape May City, of course, a county average, Avalon, Cape May Point, Lower Township, Middle Township, Ocean City, West Cape May, and Wildwood Crest. So that really does give you a nice breakdown. To be honest with you, Deputy Mayor, I had the same sticker shock when I looked at some of the, look, they're all still reasonably done. What is clear is that the county averages are pretty close to the application fees
That's-
that we're implementing in this ordinance, and not that we have yet, but the escrow fee to me is a no-brainer. That makes all the sense in the world. I do think some of the application fees, this is the problem with not increasing your fees for 20 years. And it's why we need to get into, and have been, to the credit of everyone on this board and the Municipal Taxation and Revenue Committee, of getting into a CPI, some type of,
Look at it more frequently. You got to look at it
Yeah.
more frequently.
yeah.
You may not make adjustments at any time, but the fact is that it needs to be looked at. It needs to be routinely
Yeah.
on a calendar that says, once every 2 years, we're just looking at it, and regardless of whether or not we act.
If we're looking at,
Planning boards have budgets, is that correct? They approve?
Not,
What is the average cost for a zoning and planning board meeting without the escrow?
That's where I think that MTRAC,
About $50 to $100 per hour per professional for maybe a 4-hour span. Not talking about preparation.
but that's where the escrow comes in. If you're looking
No,
at
I'm
a
not,
specific-
I'm not counting escrow.
Right.
So, you have an engineer and an attorney for 4 hours, how much does that cost?
Well, I think that
$2,000?
That's where MTRAC,
they're doing all the work ahead of
Analyze
time,
it.
though, too. All of
No,
this
that's the
is-
escrow covers. Is that correct?
The escrow is supposed to cover the review of the particular applications and any work done in connection with it. Now, there is the general cost of having professional service aboard, a month.
From 7 o'clock, the meeting starts?
There may be a meeting fee or an hourly rate, depending on I don't have that contract in front of me, but yeah, I mean, like,
'Cause
for instance, I'm the zoning board solicitor in Sea Isle. There's just a monthly stipend, and then there's the fees that are associated with a particular application. Those are the escrow.
and
Fees.
that general fee is, the board administrator has a general question, they call up the attorney.
And I don't bill an hourly rate, it's just part of my
That's
general.
part of the escrow.
Yeah.
But as soon as that application hits Mr. Gillenshort's office, he reviews it, he has to prepare, be at the meeting attendance, prepare a resolution of approval, have correspondence with the applicant. That's what the escrow fee covers.
Right.
But if the board or,
I'm talking about just the meeting itself,
You're saying there's probably a cost.
7 to 10 a.m.
To-
Or p.m., excuse me, 6 to 10 p.m. How much does it cost to perform these meetings?
but some of that
Taxpayer.
is escrow fee, some of that is is
Application.
the
So
applicant
it's
covered.
mixed up, so it's hard
mixed up.
to say.
Yes.
Exactly. That's my point.
Yep.
And that's why you look at.
That's, because I'm thinking about these prices are pretty high. If we have, 4 applicants paying $1,000 each for a variance appeal,
right?
I think that covers the cost more some, or maybe more than it
Well, that's where I think, maybe, and I hate to go by averages, I don't know if that's really the best way to do it, and that's why MTRAC has done such a great job on a lot of other things. Maybe, but to move this along, I think we need to,
I'm glad,
Move it
I'm
along.
supportive
But
of moving
this,
it along as well.
this is not something that we're charged, people are seeing their prices go up every year. This is something where most of these people, they do this one time.
Major development.
They came in,
Yeah.
they're making an application. I don't
Yep.
think they're looking at sticker shock. They're
No.
just looking at.
These
a
fees are-
fee, which is a drop in the bucket compared to all of their other expenses.
So, look-
These are
I'm just trying to say, we were justified, we're talking about because we're trying to justify the
Yeah.
expense.
Can I make a suggestion then? Because I think what is pretty clear is if you look at the county average and you look at the application fee numbers, they're pretty similar. That's a cursory review here, but in any event, what I would suggest is we have a motion and a second. It's the introduction of the ordinance. I would suggest, personally, everyone should vote how they feel, that we introduce it. But at the same time, I'd like 2 volunteers to work with the city manager and MTRAC if they feel that makes sense. So I'm not, that's no offense to MTRAC, but if that makes sense, please do. And then If we need to make amendments to that application fee at the next, at the second reading, we make those amendments. Does that make sense?
I'm not volunteering for anything. I just want to have a conversation with Carol Keenan, that's all.
Yeah. Okay, perfect.
And I'm
Deputy Mayor?
looking forward, too.
Would you work with that one?
Absolutely.
Okay. So,
Obviously, I'm the council liaison.
yeah, so we have a motion and a second. We're going to have Deputy Mayor take a second look at the application fees and make any suggestions at the next meeting. Is that good? Good, okay. Any other questions or comments, council? Roll call?
Councilmember Yeager?
Yes.
Councilmember Meyer?
Yes.
Councilmember McDade?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Baldwin?
Yes.
Mayor Mullick?
Yes.
And finally, we have 545-2024, an ordinance amending Chapter 7 of the Code of City of Cape May regarding driveway line striping.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
City Manager, would you give us a quick explanation?
This is, we had a provision in the ordinance that if somebody wants to have a driveway to park on the street in front of their driveway, there's a permit process, and then part of that permit process is the painting of the yellow line in the driveway to make sure nobody parks there. We have received numerous requests because sometimes the driveway's not wide enough, so it doesn't meet the permit requirements, so we can't issue them a permit. And then they say, well, can you paint our driveway anyway so somebody doesn't park in front of our driveway? And we have to say, we can't because we don't have a way to charge you. This is essentially giving the city ability to collect the monies to reimburse our public works employees to go out there and paint a private driveway so that people don't park in front of it. And this is beyond the parking that if the I'll say, they're called Ts and Ls, that would mark the location of the driveway. This is to put the yellow lines across the driveway to make it very obvious that cars shouldn't park there.
Can I ask a quick question? This is if an applicant is denied.
Or we could use it for even if somebody just wants, if they know that they're not going to be denied. That's why the permit, that's why it's, if you look at the Section A, it's $25 plus $100. So this is kind of, it's
Well, that's what I was trying to
$125. It's $125, which, it kind of covers, if you want to say it's $25 for the application just for us to process this request, and then it's $100 for Public Works to physically go
I
out there.
guess, and I'm getting a little technical, but if someone is denied and they have already spent the $25 permit fee, can we make this $100? Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Rather than 125.
Yes,
Are you okay with that amendment?
we're okay with that.
Okay. Does everyone
that makes
understand that?
sense.
I just think if you're denied on your application, you already spent your $25.
Right.
They don't get a refund on a denial, right?
No.
$25?
No.
Okay. So I think if you're denied 100, if you're not denied 125,
We can add something probably in Section A.
I understand. I think you confused me, but I understand.
I think, yeah, I think we can deal with the language.
Yeah.
The intent is that if you've applied and been denied but still want striping, you should get credit for the 25 you paid.
For your
If
denial.
you just want striping, it's a full 125.
Yes.
Everybody's paying the same thing, you just get credit if
that
you.
okay?
That makes sense.
application.
Okay.
Yep.
So how would you like that in the form of a amendment?
I mean, if that's the substance of what council wants to do, you can vote on that in the form of an amendment. We can include that in some red line.
Hasn't been published yet, so
Yeah.
we have flexibility in
Okay.
that wording.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I'll make a motion to amend the ordinance. Hopefully,
on that
the
comment.
solicitor can come up with a better terminology than this, but
Should we
that the
just do-
$25 permit fee be in the event of a denial, the
Credited.
$25 permit fee be credited toward the cost of the painting so that the painting is $100.
And only
Yeah.
associated with this ordinance.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can make a suggestion right now. Should the applicant be denied, this is B, should the applicant be denied a private driveway parking permit but still want a driveway striped, the new language,
Yeah,
the
it's already
applicant
there.
will pay an additional $100 on top of the $25 application fee above for a total of $125. Or and then you just leave the rest of it there.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's my motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any questions or comments on the amended ordinance? On the amendment, I should say. Okay, roll call on the amendment.
Councilmember Yeager?
Yes.
Councilmember Meyer?
Yes.
Councilmember McDade?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Baldwin?
Yes.
Mayor Mullick?
Yes. Do I have a motion on the amended ordinance?
To introduce as amended.
Yeah,
Make a
thank you.
motion.
I'll second.
Any questions or comments? Roll call?
Councilmember Yeager?
Yes.
Councilmember Meyer?
Yes.
Councilmember McDade?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Baldwin?
Yes.
Mayor Mullick?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so next we have the public portion on the resolutions only at this time, council.
Is anyone wishing this evening to speak on resolutions on the agenda this evening? Jules? Oh, my God. You know what? Mr. Roush, I'm sorry if we go out of order for just a moment, because we have a gentleman who's been patiently waiting here.
On the consent agenda, should we take a motion to remove from the consent agenda?
Yeah, so.
I'll make a motion to remove this from the consent agenda.
Okay, so I have a motion to remove Resolution 23709, 2024. That's the motion appointing Patrick McCarthy to the tax assessor position. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call? This is to remove,
Then we're going to introduce it.
remove from the consent agenda. Oh, no? Okay.
All in favor,
All in
say
favor,
aye.
say aye. Yeah.
Aye.
Okay.
Sorry, Mayor.
Council, do I have a motion on Resolution 23709, 2024?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Patrick is with us this evening, and I just, we interviewed Patrick for the tax assessor for the city of Cape May as a council appointment. So we interviewed some very good candidates, and Patrick really rose to the top. Patrick, we thank you for being here. We actually haven't voted on this resolution yet. Maybe we should do that first. But if there's anything you'd like to say, we'd be happy to say hello if you'd like. But before you do that, we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Let's make it official.
Councilmember Yeager?
Yes.
Councilmember Meyer?
Yes.
Councilmember McDade?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Baldwin?
Yes.
Mayor Mullick?
Yes, Patrick, please, welcome, congratulations.
I'll keep it short, just very grateful for this opportunity and looking forward to get started on Monday. So, thank you.
Thank you. Watch his foot. He's a LaSalle grad as well. Patrick is a LaSalle grad. The family owns a house in Wildwood, is that right? And we're just thrilled to have you, Patrick. I think captain of the soccer team, and so a lot of, I won't go through your resume because I don't have it memorized.
A lot
but
of leadership skills.
a lot of leadership skills, and we're excited to have you in the building. So thank you very much for your willingness, and I wish you the best of luck. Welcome.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mr. Roush, I apologize. So we'll open it up for public comment on resolutions this evening only.
Jules
Enjoy your
Roush,
evening.
1010 New York Avenue. I have a question on 241. This appears to be a number of changes, and they're being lumped into one resolution. Is that correct?
Hang on, let me,
41.
Trenton Avenue.
I just want to get to it so I could. There are a number of additions, deletions, and extras on this resolution, yes.
This is, quite frankly, Mr. Teach, most of the times when we make these change orders, they're specific as to a particular project. Does this change the procedure that we're going to follow, and how will the accounting for the dollars be attributed to the various changes?
Well, I don't think it's a change. This is how we would normally do it, and it is identified as the project is the 2023 Utility and Road Program and the 2023 NJ DOT Municipal Aid Project. They're one and the same project. It's only identified as a DOT project because part of that project had DOT grant funding in it. And there's so many different line items or groups in that because we have to account for the DOT participating items separate from the non-DOT participating items. And if you look at the first, I think it's the first page of the change order, it outlines, Section A is for Beach Avenue sanitary sewer, supplemental items. Section B, extras on Beach Avenue supplemental sanitary sewer. Section C is supplemental non-DOT items, which would have been all of the other road work, which would have been Trenton Avenue, Congress, and Franklin Street. And then the reduction of those same non-DOT participating items. The DOT participating items are really, Trenton Avenue had I think, the majority of the DOT related work. So those reductions, extras on the DOT section would be on from Trenton Avenue. But this is not a divergence of what we normally do. This is how we've always done it for this type of a project that had multiple roads. It's just...
But in the final analysis, when everything is finished, everything will be accounted individually for each individual project?
Well, it's,
Even though
there again, it's one project. One project has many roads within the project. We do have we don't necessarily have a full, we do have, the engineer does have an accounting for each road, but we don't itemize it that way when we sum it all up. We sum it up for the project. The only thing we separate out are the DOT participating items and the non-DOT participating items because the DOT needs to know which part they're paying for and which part they're not paying for.
Yeah, I understand that. They require a definition. Would you explain what the Trenton Avenue, is it a reconstruction or a removal?
Well, Trenton Avenue was a reconstruction project. They did water, sewer, and drainage and reconstructed the road.
But we are not removing the Trenton Avenue discharge for storm sewer into the ocean.
No, that was not part of the project. There was stormwater infrastructure on Trenton Avenue that was, but that was between Beach Avenue and...
And Lafayette, I believe.
No, we just went up 2 blocks
Okay.
to New Jersey, New York, I think to New York Avenue. But that project was defined when it was bid and awarded.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yep.
Thank you. This is, just for the public's information, a 0.85% change, so a very minor change. It does bring the total up to 11.29. I think the nature of these road projects is what you see these requests for an increase, This is all, as much as it's not per street, per project, it itemizes all of the extra work that was done. And I'm sure if you look at that list, these are all things that we needed to do. And unfortunately, sometimes you don't know until you open the road up, and that's kind of the nature of a road project, unfortunately.
And that's how these projects are bid. These projects are bid as a unit price contract. So the item, that's why you look at it. There's some go up, some go down, and sometimes we need a little bit of extra work because we just didn't know what we saw when we couldn't see under the ground.
Yeah. Okay. Anyone else on resolutions this evening?
Hi, Mary Ann Reamer, 113 Illinois Avenue. It wasn't a resolution on your agenda, but the resolution to adopt the tax assessor, the young man that was just in here. I'm not familiar with tax assessor and the responsibility. Can you elaborate a little bit on his role and his responsibilities? Sure.
Well, the tax assessor essentially values all the real property within the city, both the physical improvements that are on the property and the land value, and establishes what that assessed value is, and that's what's utilized to appropriate and appoint everybody's real estate taxes. So that's the assessed value. You get your little green card every year that says the values. Well, he's the guy that does the math to figure that out.
Oh,
And it's
okay.
one of the 4 statutory positions required in the state of New Jersey.
Okay. Okay.
Tax assessor departed.
Okay, thank you. I'm not familiar with the New Jersey, how we do it in Pennsylvania, it's different, so that's why I didn't understand. Thank you.
Sure. Anyone else on resolutions this evening? Mr. Crowley?
Hello, I'm Dennis Crowley, 806 Lafayette Street, Cape May, New Jersey. A couple comments on the consent agenda, actually comments, questions. On 243, that massive report on the master plan watershed issue. Could I ask that you place that report on the city website?
It will go up on the city website.
Okay, because the one that was attached it's very
hard to read some of the
color-coded
photos.
oriented, and
Yep.
it's hard to understand what they're even trying to say but on
Yep.
a black and white, so it'll go
It'll
on the
get, it'll
city
get up
website.
there.
Okay. And the other thing, the other issue is 247, the Cape May audit, that's finally going to be approved, so that'll be up on the website also?
Yes.
Good, good. In the corrective plan, which is the next resolution, I did notice that there was an expenditure for the lifeguard pension increases or salary increases or something like that, and it was attributed to the general fund. And I think that one of the MTRAC's recommendations was that as much as possible, any costs related to the utilities be put in the utilities budget. And I was wondering whether or not that actually is going to happen. Are we going to get a reimbursement from that utility for that money, or how does that go?
It's a good question. City Manager, do you,
Were you talking about the,
Audit,
Audit.
yeah.
but for the pension fund?
Yeah, and the next resolution, 248, where
Yeah.
they approve the corrective action plan, it references the general.
I'd be surprised that, well, I guess I don't know the explanation. The pension fund, I think, would be outside the purview of the utility itself, but.
but I think, let's get you
Okay,
the right
I'm just
answer.
bringing it up because
Yeah.
it's inconsistent with the recommendation, and I know
It's
the
a
council.
good question and if we can take it from the beach utility, we will, is I think the
Okay.
answer, but
I know, and you've been working hard to get as much as possible in the utilities, so that's fine.
well,
And that
either
was for the
way,
lifeguard pension payment, correct? That's.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
right.
we'll get the answer from our CFO for the next meeting, if
Okay.
not before then.
That's fine, and I have some comments about the ordinances introduced, but I'll hold them to the general public.
Sure.
Conversation. All right?
Thank you.
Couple comments.
Anyone else on resolutions this evening? Seeing none, we can close public comment on resolutions.
All right.
We had one resolution, obviously, taken off the consent agenda.
Anything else to remove from the consent agenda, council?
Remove 242, please.
Sure. Yes.
Anything else, council? Okay.
All right, so do we have a motion to adopt the consent agenda then?
Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Yeager?
Yes.
Councilmember Meyer?
Yes.
Councilmember McDade?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Baldwin?
Yes.
Mayor Mullick?
Yes.
All right, then we have 24209, 2024, a resolution of the City of Cape May authorizing CTOW services.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any questions or comments?
Yeah, I pulled this off the consent agenda because it's pretty considerable, and this is the first time that we had to do something like this with our harbor master. Just want to pretty much, and I spoke to the manager about this. They're going through the proper channels to try to reimburse the money, but it really becomes a hazard out there. And I'm really glad that we have a couple of harbor masters that are looking out for, one of our great resources. So, Paul, I don't know if you have any additional updates?
Well, I think, well, the one update I'm going to say, you're going to see in an upcoming agenda, we're working with Chris and come up with essentially how we have a towing ordinance and provision. We're looking to have a boat towing ordinance and provision so that we don't have to do this in an emergent, reactive way. We can be more proactive and have a better streamlined process to handle abandoned boats in the harbor and how to take care of them.
So-
The boat owner was issued tickets for that. We're going to work through the municipal court process, and essentially, if we can, whatever we can recover for costs, we will. Because of these costs, we may end up having to move it out of municipal court, depending on with these costs. But we're at least we've started the municipal court process with issuing the owner of the boat tickets.
That was,
But the most important thing was securing the boat from an environmental hazard
Exactly.
on the harbor. That was, the prime focus, both of code enforcement, police, and administrative, manager's office, was to make sure that we did not have an environmental hazard in the harbor, as well as a navigational problem in the harbor.
so that was the question that I was going to direct to the city solicitor with regard to our ability to recoup and the process that the city would go through if you had someone who was an absent owner or someone who was not willing to pay the bill.
Under state statute and our city code that basically incorporates those provisions, those individuals are liable for the costs, including things like this. And there's also steep fines and penalties that are in addition to the costs that can be levied. And I know that the city is looking intently at those provisions. I will say about what Manager Dietrich just mentioned about, an RFP to kind of get an ordinance to get things updated. I don't think the city wants to get in the business of spending money on this all the time, but what is important is being in a position to act if nobody else is going to act to protect, the city's waterways and things like that. So I think putting the city in a position to act if it needs to is a good thing. Obviously, no one likes to see $25,000 show up on a bill, but the alternative is much worse, and acting responsibly is one of the duties here. So, and those individuals, I know that code enforcement has been in contact and has, is pursuing those alternative channels as well.
You mentioned the whole towing ordinance.
Councilmember Meyer. Thank you.
Clerk. When it comes to towing, if the first tow person is not available, you go to the next tow person. So my question is, are there any other boat towing services besides Sea Tow out here? And two, it's according, because I remember last council meeting, you and I asked you behind here, Mr. Mayor, why can't we have a contractual, agreement with Sea Tow? And Sea Tow is clearly a franchise, I assume, if that's the way the structure of the company's, formed. Why can't we have contractual agreement with these folks?
So
That's what we're looking to do.
That's what we're going to look to
And
do.
and do they have that with other municipalities?
Not necessarily with CETO, but to get a service like that in the dugout in the case of emergency, so we're not wondering, hey, who do we call, what do we do? You have that set up, and you may not need to use it, and you probably don't want to, but if it's there, you need it, and you can pull the trigger.
My question is, why can't we have the same benefits as a private boat owner? Why can't we have more of an umbrella, pay a little more, to get a little more, when we need it? I just think $25,000 is insane. And, I think $25,000 is a annual, I could be okay with that for an annual agreement of picking up any boat that's drifting in the harbor.
Yeah, but don't forget, that cost was to tow that boat from Cape May Harbor 40 nautical miles or 35 nautical miles up to Delaware Bay, up to Morris River, to a yard that could haul that boat out of the water and salvage it in a appropriate fashion. So, it's not like towing a car where it's
Well, we shouldn't have to pay for that. That should be fined upon the boat owner.
But unfortunately, this was declared an abandoned boat. So at that point, just like if we had an abandoned car, we wouldn't know who you don't know who the title owner is at that point, and so we dealt with it the best we could. It
So,
just-
and also in addition, there was work that had to be done in order to make it seaworthy, to get it down the river, so they did some extensive kind of rehab work on the boat to get it, patching the hull of the boat, and then also almost like a jacking system to get it level with where high tide would be, to now pull it back out to there. And to your point, Councilman Meyer, that's kind of where we're going after evaluating this issue, kind of thinking about, okay, if we happen to need to do it again, what's the best way possible? What's the most cost-effective way possible to do that?
I'm probably not getting to my point the best way. My point is, CETO's a big company, a big franchise. We can't be the first municipality asking for this type of agreement.
So in other municipalities, I can't speak to New Jersey, but in talking with code enforcement who has kind of been in contact with CETO, this type of service is offered, in Florida, pretty much is where they were speaking about. So I have reached out to other city managers up and down the East Coast to say, hey, how do you deal with something like this? And they're talking about what we're doing right here. And I spoke to a city manager somewhere outside of Georgia, in the Georgia area, and he said, this is how we deal with it. But every state deals with it uniquely. So in Florida, the Florida Wildlife and Protection, actually, they kick in money to municipalities to deal with this type of stuff. We're working with Stockton University and also our EGIF, with the manager's office to make sure that we recoup what we can and then also go after, to the owner as well. So it's kind of like a three-pronged approach. Unfortunately, some of our stuff has to be reactionary, but it's kind of the nature of the
I thought
beast
that
on
was
this
a
one.
great explanation.
I just as information, I talked to the guy who owns the competitor to CETO, and I told him what we paid to have the boat towed off of there, and he said that company gave you a pretty good deal. That was a good number.
So another thing, just to your point, is, as you said, different states handle it differently. Our legislators are actively in the state looking at an abandoned boat legislation and funding. So
They've done the first part, they haven't done the second part, but
Right.
one and they have to find a
Yep.
pot of money to contribute to that, but
Yep.
and that leaves the municipalities in a position to enforce. But one of the things that people leaving their boats there need to understand is that the most economical choice is not just letting it sit there, because the municipalities have the ability to fine daily fines of $1,000 a day.
And we've
So if
been
you-
doing that.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, a $25,000 bill looks really high, but if you're there for a month and you're in violation, that's 30. So that's the economic decision, and economics aren't really driving that when you have a sunken boat. Maybe other things are happening in people's lives, but if they're looking at one versus the other, the cheaper option is to pay it for removal rather than face what the city can potentially do, so.
And Mayor, just to continue on to that, really, and I think you brought it up, kudos to our volunteer harbor masters, really, who identified this issue very early on and then kind of worked with our code enforcement and city management to say, okay, how are we tackling this issue? I know it kind of took a little longer than probably most people wanted or expected, but really we, code enforcement and the harbor masters, we were following that legal process to make sure things were in
Yeah,
line.
that's the main thing. We're going to go after the owner to the fullest extent of the law and go and fine him to the fullest extent. We'll see what happens. We obviously can't guarantee what's going to get paid back or not, but we're going to go after that person, and frankly, anyone else who thinks about dumping their boat in our harbor, we're going to go after the fullest extent of the law, number one. But as you said, I do want to thank both our volunteer harbor masters, Jack Lord, Tom Carroll. They both recognized that this boat was sinking. immediately called the city manager, sprung into action Captain Bobick and our code enforcement. Everybody knows, beached the boat, then followed the law. As the deputy city manager just said, we wanted to get rid of the boat as much as everybody, but you obviously have to give the owner their opportunity, give the time, do the title search, all that fun stuff. But in any event, the good news is we don't have a boat that's sitting at the bottom of our harbor now, and it had diesel fuel inside of it. So of course that would have been a huge expense of a cleanup had it's sunk, let alone the environmental impact. So I think looking at this as the mayor, I think everybody did the best they possibly could. So I appreciate everyone's hard work. And we're going to go after the person as much as we possibly can. And anyone who thinks about it in the future, we will be litigating this to the fullest extent. So, all right, I think we have a motion and a second, right? Do we have a motion and a second on this? Any other comments or questions, council? Roll call?
Councilmember Yeager?
Yes.
Councilmember Meyer?
Yes.
Councilmember McDade?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Baldwin? Yes. Mayor Mellick?
Yes.
And for the regular agenda, we have 250-09-2024, a resolution appointing a member to the Cape May City Zoning Board of Adjustment.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
This is an appointment of Sarah Stevenson to the zoning board. I probably should say this after the vote. Any questions or comments, council? Roll call?
Councilmember Yeager?
Yes.
Councilmember Meyer?
Yes.
Councilmember McDade?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Baldwin? Yes. Mayor Mullick?
Yes, and I just want to thank Sarah for her willingness to serve on the zoning board. Thank you very much. Okay, with that, on to new business.
New business, council.
City solicitor, any new business?
I don't have anything tonight, Mayor, thank you.
City manager?
No, just summer's unofficially over, but we still do have 3 weeks of good weather out there. So again, just a reminder, please swim in front of a lifeguard.
Thank you. City clerk?
None tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Deputy mayor?
Nothing tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Go ahead, city
We
manager.
did have something. So on this Friday, 4 o'clock, we're going to have the official ribbon cutting of Kiwanis Park. So we do have that. So if you're available and want to come out and, we got the bathrooms finished. The park has obviously been finished, but we're going to do the official ribbon cutting with the Kiwanians are going to be out there. We're going to try to get the school bus to drop off a bunch of kids and, just kind of officially open the park to the public.
That's great. Yeah, thank you very much. Where were we? Councilmember McDade?
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
Councilmember Meyer?
I just want to thank everybody that's part of Cape May for the success of Cape May. I'm very happy that the parking along St. John Street in Lafayette was a success, something I've been wanting to see for more than 10 years. And it goes to show that if you make it available, people will park there. And so I think moving forward, we all know that, that's the move that we need to make.
Yep.
And I just think I'm just so lucky to live in Cape May, and I love the summers in Cape May. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Meyer. Councilman Yeager?
Yeah, I just want to, I'm starting early on this. You'll probably hear about it a few more times. But anyhow, I just wanted to mention that we're going to be doing a dune grass planting. We're looking for volunteers for dune grass planting on Sunday, October 6th. It's only for 2 hours, 10 a.m. to noon. And everybody's meeting at the lifeguard headquarters and putting out planting thousands of dune grass sprigs. So
That's great.
Yeah, it'll be a great event. So I'll mention it again later on, but again, it's on October 6th.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you to the Environmental Commission, too. That's great. I have nothing further. So with that, we'll open it up to public comment. Anyone wishing to speak, please come to the microphone. Sir?
Good evening. My name is Paul Johnston. I own the Cove Restaurant located at 405 South Beach Avenue. Last month, or in August, I saw some surveyors from de Blasio and Associates doing a survey in front of my restaurant. So I went out there and asked them what they were doing, and they said they're doing elevations for the west end of Beach Avenue Improvement Project. That's the first I heard of it. So I went online just last week, and I looked at it. And this afternoon, I went to Staples, and I copied this, and I had some questions about it. Looks very pretty. It's a nice red brick sheet wall, a nice red brick turnaround zone, little eye drop there. Nice pavers here. But there's some questions I have which I need to understand. If you can see right here, there's bollards, 6 bollards. It seems to be blocking the traffic going into the beach, the entrance to the beach. Is that a mistake, or?
No, that is,
That's where the current guardrail is.
thank you.
That area's out in front of where the guide rail is, but it still allows access to the beach. It's still have access to the beach.
So bikers can bike right through those bollards.
You can have this. Can you pass it around?
We have it.
Pass it around so everyone can see it? I'll get another copy myself. I see 6 bollards, and there are,
I'm sorry, sir, could you speak into the microphone,
I'm
please?
sorry.
Thank you.
I see 6 bollards, and they're approximately, I would say, 10, 20, about 26 feet east of the existing barricade. I'm guessing because I don't have a measuring device here. It appears that it's 25, 6, 24, 26 feet east of the existing barricade. Would that be an approximate guess?
I don't think it's that far.
It's a distance.
Well, if you look at this, I assume, well,
But what's the point? What is
the
it?
point is, if you look at this, it's very hard to get to the beach with this plan I'm showing you. Here's the bollard right here, and here's the beach access right here.
What I will say is there will be better access to the beach with the proposed project than there is currently. If you think about the guide rail that's there now, it's a solid guide rail across.
Guardrail now, this
guide rail.
plan's all new. This is not an existing above ground, above sky view of what it is now. But would the seat wall be where the barricade is now? It's where it's
Basically, yes.
probably where the bike rack is now.
Oh, it's further
No,
back.
no, the seat wall is at the end of the sidewalk.
And the barricade is right at the west end, or no, it's about in the middle of the seawall. The little seawall or bulkhead west of the boardwalk, west of the entrance to the beach. So here is
Would that be Third
Yeah.
Avenue?
this is being taken out and replaced. Here is the seawall.
Right.
Bulkhead right there. And here's the seawall right there.
Yep,
And then you have approximately 25 feet of pavers.
yep,
Then you have bulkheads. But here's the entrance to the beach right here.
yep.
So cars coming down, cars in America, cars
We-
driving on the right, not in England.
And we don't want the cars driving onto the beach.
Right, so, well.
That's clear. We do not,
City vehicles, tractors, front-end loaders,
yep.
how are they going to move into the beach?
If you notice that the bollards don't go all the way down, so there's
They stop.
they stop short to allow a vehicle to pass onto the beach.
To the same location they do today.
Your finger and show me how that would happen.
And just so the public knows what we're talking about.
Or a beach cleaner going down here. I guess they can drive across that.
City clerk,
Teardrop.
city clerk, can we have a microphone status over here?
And if we need to move
We're
a
long
bollard.
past the
if
microphone
we need to-
status, but thank
If
you,
we need
Chris,
to
for
move a
putting us
bollard
on.
one way or the other, we'll move a bollard to make sure that,
Thank you.
I mean, trust me, the one thing the city wants to do is make sure that the beach cleaners and beach access is still maintained for us to maintain the beach. That will maintain and happen. As I said, there will be no loss, there will actually be improved beach access to the public. People with bicycles, people and pedestrians will have better access to get on the beach, and our public works, public safety will still have access to the beach.
Right.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson, one thing I just want to make sure you understand too, and just looking at this, that island, the brick island, the teardrop,
The teardrop.
yeah,
It's the same as what it is.
it's the same height as the rest of the road. Just you know,
Right.
if you need to
I
cross
assume-
it,
I
you,
assume maybe a half inch higher, would be smart.
yeah, right.
I assume that. Mm-hmm. But it just appears to me that my property's frontage, street frontage, is going to be reduced around 25 feet.
No.
Due to the bollards. Here's my front door, and the bower starts about 12 feet west of my front door. Here's the bower right
Right.
there, and here's my front door right there.
Okay.
You've eliminated your own parking.
Yeah, you mean where you have all the seating out in front?
Right.
So we're actually protecting your
Yeah,
patrons.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but I would still need street frontage. Let's say.
The street is still
Let's say I
there.
want to redevelop it. I want to
Okay,
drive
can
it.
I, just so, because we got a lot of people here.
Okay, I'll let them speak
But-
first. I'll let them
but
speak first, and I'll
it's-
come back.
that's not-
This is important to me, so I can't be blown off by saying, hey, let people in front of you, let them
I'm
go
not,
first.
I'm
I'll
not
get
trying to
you
blow you
last.
off. I think what we're having is kind of a private conversation. I don't care if the public hears it, but I think it'd be better if after the meeting, we meet with you, and as long as you
Right.
need to, we'll talk to you, no problem.
Well, I just want to put on record.
Okay?
that- I want to put on record that, I have other questions too.
It has been 5 minutes, Council.
On the plan, you have some drainage along Beach Avenue. Is that a storm drain or a French drain?
A French drain.
French drain. So we're not tying to the storm system.
Yeah, we are.
A French drain,
As I explained to you in front of your restaurant last week or the week
no,
before.
about 2 days ago.
Yeah,
That was last
last
Sunday.
week. So the French drain will tie into the storm drainage that's down onto
Mount Vernon,
First Avenue,
Second Avenue.
Second.
Mount Vernon.
It goes in and.
Well, my engineering wise, I think a French drain and a storm drain is two different things. A French drain is just the drain that the stones absorb the water.
A French drain is a component to that. And by the way, it's an improvement to what you have there today.
Yeah, yes, I agree. A French drain is good. 2 French drains is even better. 3 is good, but a storm drain's better. It's the best solution.
And
that's why I was
we're improving what you have today. Right now, you've got a drain that heads towards the dune and is full of sand.
We have a French drain and no one cleans out. It's full of sand, yeah. The city never cleans it out.
So now we have a French drain going the other direction, so it has positive drainage.
Well, the city's going to clean it out I mean, if a storm drain, you don't have to clean out. It goes into the system.
I disagree. Storm drains, we have to clean
Yeah,
out
well-
every year.
Okay. Sorry.
Well, I just,
Okay, I have a lot of
Mr. Johnson, put what you'd like on the record, put it on the record, but let's meet together and
Right,
go over.
that's fine. I
Okay.
didn't know, no one told me about this. I found out just through a guy
Well,
wearing orange.
that's not true, though, because you and I have discussed this.
No,
I emailed you.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
sorry, sir, we
wait.
would need to give you.
Guys, we got to take it one at a time, all right? We're doing,
Seriously, Mayor, I just downloaded this thing this morning from the Staples.
Mr. Johnson, it's on our website. It's
Yeah, that's where I got it from.
Yeah. Okay, so we've had it at council meetings, and you did, and I'm not, I don't want to go back and forth here, but you asked me specifically about this project.
Yes, I asked you to tie the storm drain.
Correct,
into-
months ago.
Tie the storm drain into the system,
And
which is at Mount Vernon Avenue and
Okay.
Second Avenue.
But didn't you ask that question based on the fact that this project is happening?
No, I did not. I was
Okay.
having flooding issues. And I asked you to address it, and I'm happy it's been addressed.
Okay.
And I asked you to tie that French drain into the storm drain.
Okay. Just for,
Okay, well, I just want to put on record, I have more questions, and you want me to
Understood.
stop here and let someone else get ahead of me, but I object to reducing my street frontage from 96 feet to, looks like 75 feet. I don't have a gauge here.
You still have the same amount of frontage under zoning. And just to be clear, I first corresponded with you by email on April 8th of 2024 and stating that we were working on reconstructing Beach Avenue to address your drainage issue. And I had several other emails.
Yeah, I did email you, but I sent you a photograph of the flooding, and you said you were going to be working on it.
and I've been
But I
copied
never
on
saw
several
this
of those
until,
emails.
I never saw this until recently. So, but anyway, I object to have my street frontage being reduced from 96 feet to now 70, I can't tell, but around in 70, 78, 75. I object to that, and I'd like to get more information.
Okay, it'll be noted in the minutes that you oppose that.
I'm sorry?
It'll be noted in the minutes that you oppose that.
Well, obviously, that's why I said it.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson, we're going to work with you.
No, thank you. Thank you for working with me. I really appreciate that.
We will.
When do you want to meet?
Let's meet after the meeting.
I'm fine.
Right,
fine.
right now.
Can we
I'm
meet on-
fine. We want to work with you. I mean,
Can we
look,
meet on site?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
But we can meet right after this too, and I
Yes.
can look
but
at this. So let's
I
do that.
prefer to meet on site as well.
Fine, that's fine. I'll do both. Now,
Thank you.
let me just say this. Overall, this is going to be a vast improvement. I think you're going to.
Oh, I agree. I started my conversation by saying how
Right.
pretty everything is.
Thank you.
So give me some credit for that.
I
didn't come here in a hostile mode.
We're gonna
I
put
want
your
you to
name on
understand.
one of the bricks. Is what
Okay,
we're going
City
to.
Council, do you understand that? I didn't come
Yes.
here in a hostile way.
No,
Believe me, I don't want
I get
that.
it.
I don't believe I gave that interpretation.
You're not.
Okay, thank you for saying that. 'Cause
I-
Sometimes I feel that that's how you're taking it. Okay.
I appreciate your concern. Obviously, it's your place of business. I
Yes.
fully appreciate that.
Thank you for saying that.
Thank you. Anyone else? Public comment? Hello, sir.
Hanisco, 1113 Illinois Avenue.
I'm sorry, what was your name?
Hanisco, Mark.
Mark. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
There's no signs on the individual entryway to the beach that says no dogs. I found two signs, the long rectangular ones.
Right.
One's at Second Avenue and one's at Poverty.
Okay.
And they cite I forgot my glasses, 158-15 that says no dogs permitted on the beach between, whatever it is, beginning May 16th and September 14th.
Okay.
Yet I see them all the time.
Right.
So the question is it an ordinance or is it not? Are we going to enforce it or are we not? I think we need more of those long rectangular signs. As you walk on the beach, there's no smoking, pay attention to the lifeguard, all this other stuff, but the no dog thing is not there. So I'd like to see more no dogs.
Fine.
I don't hate dogs, I just don't want them on
We
the
understand,
beach.
believe me.
Don't want them on the beach. Thank you.
I think the sign that you're referring to, the long one, was actually updated by the solicitor. We had multiple signs, what was bicycles and pedestrians were a different date than dogs were.
We've in-season, off-season rules now,
Right.
and in-season, off-season signs. Are those
I
the ones
think-
you're referencing?
This is the one right here.
Yeah.
There's one at Second Avenue and one at Poverty.
Let
You
me
like
say
the
this.
sign, or you?
The sign's great, I think we
Yeah.
need more.
Okay.
Right.
There's just two of them on, what do we got?
I think what we have to
48
do
beaches.
is consolidate, and I think this is a good winter project, okay? We've had updates to certain ordinances, and then you kind of put one ordinance on one sign, okay? And then we end up with 6 signs at a beach entrance. We've made some updates, and I think they're good updates, that made more concise and understandable language. You have to cite the ordinance, but you also want people to understand what you're actually trying to say. I think, I agree with you, let's make a winter project of trying to consolidate the rules on the beach, so that we don't have 6 different signs for different ordinances, and starts with a welcome. Welcome to Cape May. Have a great time. Please do not smoke, have the dogs, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm going to ask for a council member to work with our solicitor. We have until
And Public
spring of
Works.
next year, and Public Works.
I'll volunteer for that.
Would you do that?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. So
I'll just-
Sir, I have a council member who's going to volunteer. Mr. Meyer is going to work with the city solicitor on signage.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Chief?
I'll be quick as the late hour approaches. Just a couple of different things. As the manager said, we conclude our summer season. It's not over. Our shoulder season is upon us. I think we are sometimes busier in the shoulder season, as Cape May is. I spoke with some representatives from Wildwood Crest today, and we were going back and forth on some banter about how their season ends, and it gets real quiet over there. And I'm like, we pick up immensely over here. So as we move into September, I want to remind everyone of our upcoming 9/11 services. We've moved that venue from the Cove back down to, back to the new firehouse here. I think it's going to be a great service. We've got some members from Kiwanis helping us out with that, as they always do. The fire department will be displaying a piece of steel from 9/11, and which they're very proud of. Several members, including myself, went to 9/11 during that day and tried to help out as best we could. So as we move into that, we also have Oktoberfest coming up at the end of September. Even though it's Oktoberfest, it's at the end of September. Several races and runs coming through Beach to Brewery that start here in Cape May and end in Lower Township. We seem to be the host for a lot of runs that end outside of our purview. So Lieutenant Walker and Lieutenant Mazza and Captain Bobick are very busy getting everything prepared for that. We have a very busy day on the 28th. I believe that's Oktoberfest. We have an event out in West Cape May on one of their distribution sites for an event out in the field. That's coming up as well. We have a windmill event that's going to be at the end of Beach Drive that same day on top of Oktoberfest. So we're pretty much all hands on deck for that weekend. And we also have an event, I believe, in Village Green, correct? Right. So, like I said, our shoulder season gets no slower. We get busier. So just bear with us as we move along. The traffic may slow, but I think our Thursday to Sunday traffic is still going to be here. And, you know, that's one thing I couldn't control this summer was the traffic. I don't know what happened this season. We've been here a long time, some of us. It wasn't a rainy day. It was a bright, sunny day, and it would take you 45 minutes just to get off the island, let alone onto the island. I don't know. People called and complained to me about it, and I tried to answer as best I could. But it's, I don't have an answer. At the end of the season, I don't have an answer of what happened. I don't, you know, it usually happens when there's a thunderstorm coming and people exit the island quickly with nowhere to go. So, you know, I'm not sure. We're moving into hurricane season as well. So OEM and ourselves are ramping up for that. We'll be putting out some messages, and we remind everyone to be informed, join on to Nixle. That information is on our webpage, front top banner on the webpage, my police department's page, and OEM. Anyone that does not have a computer, we will send someone to you. Aliana Freddy will come to your house and help you walk through that with the laptop. We'd rather people into our Register Ready program as well. I looked at the numbers today. It's very low numbers of people that are actually registered on the county's Register Ready program. That means that if you live here year-round and that you need assistance other than just calling 911, we kind of come to you first, and we can get to Cape May Point, West Cape May, Cape May City, and deal with you because we know you live here. So if you live here year-round and you need extra help, or your family member lives here, please come on to that Register Ready. It's a county web-based service that can help the public be better prepared and us be better prepared, so we don't have to go house-to-house hunting. We'll do that at the end. It's better to come to you first. So anyone with any needs there, please contact us. We try to remind you of that. OEM Coordinator Eck, Deputy Chief Eck, reminded me he wanted that known. Also, on a sadder note, it's not really involving Cape May, but I just want to extend the city's condolences to the Goudreau family, the Matthew and Johnny Goudreau. They were both killed recently in Salem County. I say that because they touched one of our officers' members' family here, Lieutenant Mazza. His children were taught by them in hockey. So he had sent me a picture just recently while I was sitting here of his son placing a stick at the site for them today. So very sad. It's part of our ongoing, with City Council and the Manager's Office, ongoing effort to thwart any DUIs. We had several DUIs this summer. I also applaud our staff for being attentive to that and trying to capture that as they go out and patrol. 8 in July, 6 or 7 in August. Doesn't seem like a lot of numbers, but that's 12, 13 off the road. And they were pretty decently high numbers. We tell everyone there's Ubers, I'll drive you home myself. Call me. I'll pick you up. I really don't care where it is. So again, our condolences as a city, as a police department, to the Goudreau family. It's sad, very sad for a mother and a father to lose 2 children at once on their, sister's, rehearsal dinner night. So that along, not too much detail, but on the Cove incident, I just want to make sure everyone's aware. We, again, our public services, lifeguards, police department, fire department, our public works responded quickly to an event that was unfortunate in the city on coming into a busy Labor Day week. We did have to close some area down. I do apologize to Mr. Johnston for closing the Cove down for a few hours in the morning. But again, I want to also applaud the staff members who dealt with that, because it's a very unfortunate, tragic incident that sometimes cast shadow over that. So we've made sure that our men and women that handle that have been spoken to and taken care of. And again, I appreciate all the city partners that helped out getting that situation under control quickly and doing that. One thing on the boats, in the harbor. My department, Captain Bobick, assists the harbor masters with that program. Maybe some additional signage out there in the harbor, as you come into it on the poles. There's several poles out there. I don't know what we can attach to, what we can't attach to, but, maybe people coming in see it, hey, there's a fine if you come here or boat here, something on land side. We can post all the social media you want, but if someone doesn't see it, if I drive into a parking lot that says I'm going to be towed if I park here, I may not. And people, it's a dumping ground, so unfortunately it definitely is a dumping ground for that. So I think that's all I have for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. And I think we all extend our thank you to the whole department for a busy summer. As you said, a lot more left to go. In fact, I don't think it ever actually ends in Cape May anymore. But yeah, you've handled a lot of and some, unfortunately, some bigger events, but have handled it very professionally. So we thank you.
Can I just add on to Chief's comments real quick? Just as a reminder, school has started, so make sure that we're, being mindful of our speed as always, especially with, little ones that are roaming around and might not be, Well, there we go. Go ahead, Chief.
Sorry, I did forget that, but yeah, I echo DCM's comments there. Slow down and smell the salt air. It's pretty simple. It's very, very simple. Just slow down. We have a lot of children, none to waste. It's very simple. Thanks. Your turn, Jules.
Mr. Roush?
Yeah, Jules Roush, 1010 New York Avenue. I'd like to go past that and comment. The Taxpayers Association has had several discussions about recyclables. Just a bit of a little history. Up until January 1st, 2017, commercial businesses were required to contract for their own collection of recyclables. And beginning on January 1st, 2017, with no discussion from City Council, with no budgets, with no authorization, no resolution, the collection of commercial businesses was done free. I think it's imperative that you take a look at this from a real perspective point. The city has changed. We all know that. We're now 10 to 12 months a year. In the last 5-6 years, we have seen a change, they tell me, from 400 to 800 houses that are now being rented. We know that many of them are big houses. They're event houses. I've got one that's right down the street from me. They take 25 people. Their trash cans, 8, 10. You never know how many they're going to be, depending on how many people show up. I would like to see us return to the position where we originally were. The commercial businesses are required to pay for their own, contract it with whomever they choose, and follow their business. I've passed out to you several photographs that I've taken this year of commercial projects around town that indicate that the issue is not trash cans. The issue is you've got to deal with everything that they put out on the sidewalk. I don't think it's fair to expect our public works, frankly, to be dealing with that issue. It's too significant an item. The requirement on the employees to handle these large volumes in one location is, and frankly, I don't think a fair representation of what they should be doing. Commercial does not belong be handled by the city. Commercial businesses are in business to make a profit. And as their business grows, they've got to pay more for water and sewer and gas and electric and employees. The responsibility for their recyclables is theirs. It should not be ours. And I think that needs to be established as you look through a modification of your ordinance. And I would add at that, because of the change that we've seen in the rentals of residential real estate, that we look at how many occupants are allowed to occupy in a particular dwelling and reflect, added to their mercantile license, a fee based on how many occupants that building is allowed to have. Whether it's $25 or $50 added on per occupant is a relatively small number to recognize that these are now commercial businesses. People are buying them. They're not staying in them themselves. They're renting them out. Frankly, they're on a 12-month basis. These are no longer what you would call little seasonal rentals that I was accustomed to as a kid. It's a full-time business. It's a commercial business, and they need to be handled as such. The other factor comes in, what has happened to the city and the number of accidents that unfortunately our employees have had. You take one of these monsters containers and load it up with, 89 to 100, 200 beer bottles, they can't pick them up. So I would like to know how many injuries have we really had as a result of the collection of recyclables? And to know, and I think you folks should know, how much does this cost the city? How many man-hours were lost? JIF has recommended to all of their members that the memberships not participate in trash or recycling collection. That's their request to their municipalities. So, without getting into further comment, you've got the photographs. They're representative of what our people have to deal with, and I don't think it's a reasonable business practice for the city of Cape May to collect commercial recyclables. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Roush. Obviously, this was discussed this evening through one of the ordinances. One of you volunteered to look at this in depth. So, yeah. So we're looking at it, obviously. But I hear you. I mean, you look at some of the photos. I saw some of it myself today, and I do think it's ridiculous when you see 30 trash cans lined up. I mean, that is a commercial. That is a commercial amount of recycling in this case that the businesses should be paying for, and frankly, a lot of them do. So I think really we're trying to make this fair for everybody. Anyone else this evening? Mr. Crowley?
Yeah, Dennis Crowley, 806 Lafayette Street. A couple comments about the ordinances that have been introduced today, and as the chairman of Amtrak, I speak for Amtrak when I say that we all feel like expectant fathers, because this is one of the things that we have advocated for since we began our process, and it's frankly one of the cornerstone pieces that we have done behind the occupancy tax and the residential rental issues. The upgrading of fees and making them modern and practical and effective has been a goal of ours for a long time, and we appreciate this motion today. Couple council people have indicated that some of these fees are 20, 25 years old, but the other thing I wanted to say was that we've also always been sort of a macro look at what's going on. We don't want to get in the weeds about anything about whether $5 or $6 is appropriate, but Amtrak has done a lot of statistical work and practical work for many of their recommendations, and this one's different because we want to commend the city for doing what Amtrak had been doing, and that is to get down and drill down into these issues and make sure that we have data and facts to support the decisions we're making. And Paul and Aaron and Maureen have done a great job about that, and we want to commend them for that because this takes a lot of the workload off of Amtrak. We don't want to really be any more than a suggestive box looking at issues, and this is. To that end, this is going to be we have a meeting on Thursday. We're going to put this on the agenda for review. We're going to review both of those ordinances that have been introduced today. And if the committee wants to make some suggestions, we'll make them to you in enough time so that you can consider them as you roll forward on this issue. There won't be any delay in the process, because one of the other things we have always advocated is getting issues changed early enough so that everybody can process them. So it's a great start. We appreciate it. I want to thank you for that. With respect to the other issue of recycling, MTRAC's also looked at that, and recycling going forward is. We don't want the city, I don't think we want the city to make changes to the way the system is working without going back and looking at what the system is all by itself. Recycling was something that was sold to the city as a way to pay for itself. It was supposed to generate revenue enough to cover all of its costs and even make some profit for the city, and that simply has not happened. The revenue has never been there for recycling. There is no market for recycling. And the city is now incurring a significant annual cost to provide a service that frankly doesn't make any sense. The trash is collected privately. Private residents arrange for their own trash collection. Perhaps what the city ought to look at eliminating the whole concept of city-provided recycling services, because it just is not working properly, and it's not making any money, and it's costing us money. And MTRAC is a revenue and appropriations committee, study committee, and we did a little bit of a study of that. We're going to do more because we don't want the city to go too far down the line of changing the way that you're doing things without considering whether or not you even should be doing those things. So those are my two thoughts for today. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Crowley. And thank you for your willingness to help in that. Anyone else this evening? Seeing none, we can close public comment and motion to adjourn. Thank you very much. Everyone have a wonderful evening. The time is 7:10. Thank you.